All right, so to get started here in regards to the injuries, no changes from last night with Atachu, Afedi, and Caleb Johnson. So we'll have more updates tomorrow, on Wednesday. After watching the tape, just a few notes that I think jumped out was confirming what we felt and what we saw on tape was the nastiness. You saw physical style play from all three phases. Offensively, we protected the football. We were efficient on third down, which was, we had to be better there. We were. And then in the red zone, goal to go, and in the red zone, we were 2 for 2, so we were able to get the touchdowns when we were down there. We need to improve on that 3rd and 1. We had those 2 3rd and 1s that was unsuccessful, so we got to make sure we get better in that area, because that was a point in time in the game where, in that third quarter, where our defense was getting stops. And, we had, in particular, the one, we had 8 yards on the 1st and 10, and then we didn't get any yards after that. So, but we'll get better there. Defensively, I really felt like we were relentless the whole day against a really good offense. You could feel it. It was a game where we were able to affect them, and I think it all started too with 52. I mean, every single play, Khalil was all over the place, and it was really one of those games where you could see that they knew where he was on every play, and he was able to still affect the game. And the other guys, his teammates around him, helped him with that part. And so all in all, it was 11 guys on defense that were just flying around against a really good offense with a lot of good skill players. In particular, 94, Robert Quinn had a really good play. The effort was awesome. And so he had that play, first play of the third quarter, where he chases down their ball carrier, and we get to a 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. Bilal gets a tackle for a loss, and then they had that drop on the scramble. But you just look, and when you see that, seeing what happens is you see that in practice. Robert does that in practice. So when you can take a practice clip and see that in the game, it's pretty neat to see. And so I think that was really important. And then the finish we talked about. So special teams, hitting our field goals. It was that third quarter there, back and forth with the punts, and I thought our punt coverage did a great job. I know we have some things that we can, with Jakeem coming in here for the first time and where he's getting the ball and everything. Coach Taves is talking through all that, but you can see one thing is he likes to bring it out. We just got to be smart when we do it. So all three phases, nothing changed from last night. I was really pleased with how that went, and but at the same point in time, we enjoyed that last night, and now we got to shift our focus moving forward. No changes from yesterday. I think that we saw what type of player he is and coming back in and how tough he is, but no changes from yesterday.
We was talking about next man up situation. How impressive was what the 2 running backs did yesterday?
Yeah, it was really impressive. And you get these opportunities in a game like that. You know that the run game has to be really important, and those guys did that. They stepped up, and they did it with help. You look at I said yesterday, the offensive line and the tight ends. You go back and watch that tape, you better include those wideouts in there, because there's some awesome blocks by the wideouts. That's a part of that. And I think that's when you highlight that to the guys and they see the effort, in particular, the one that jumps out to me is Mooney down there on the touchdown run. Sticking his nose in there and getting leverage like he did. But there was, Demir Bird had a bunch of sift blocks and stuff. So, it was neat to see. Those were 2 that I think of, but all the wideouts were blocking too, so it was pretty neat.
You challenge so much about the passing game from Justin Fields and what he's capable of doing. What does he have to learn from a running standpoint, as in him running?
Sure. Yeah. No. You always want to at this level, things are faster and they hit harder, and so you got to be smart with that. The third down, the one he took the shot there on that tackle when he came out. Is one where it's you get to that, it's 3rd and 4, and he was right close to the sticks, and so you got to be smart there. But at the same time, you can get caught sometimes with how you go down, or do you go for the first or do you slide? And so he's just going to have to continue to learn when that happens, and understand that we also want to be smart with that too. You gotta be smart with how you use them and when you use them.
Is that hard for a quarterback, like flipping in his head?
Probably more situationally. Yeah, if it's a normal scramble and he runs, it's easy to wherever you're at to get down. When you got that line that's that they put on TV that you can kind of visualize and know you're close to it, or if you're down in the red zone, you're right, and you want to be able to go in there or inside the 5, you want to score a touchdown. That's where you saw at the end of the game too when we had the quarterback sweep around the corner, like just stuff like that. You want to be smart, but he has a good feel for that.
Did you start finding him for that spin move?
I guess so. Yeah,
I know he's told us a couple of times, like, I got to stop doing that.
Yeah. No, I would never find him, but maybe say we were, but we just be smart. That's all. Be smart.
With him, you learned about we talked about his toughness yesterday, and so one of those deals where do you really not want to find out just how tough he is?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
what can you guys do to make sure that he takes as few of those hits as you can control?
Yeah. I think that some of those are going to happen. I think it's probably too some of the extra ones that it's just inevitable in this game. Every quarterback gets hit in the pocket, whether it's and you saw too like the ones in the drop back game where he was getting hit as well, and there were some flags for that. So let's minimize that as much as we can. Some of it might be game plan specific if you have more or less runs in the plan, and then how those are called. So there's some guys that that run more than others, and there's some guys that protect themselves more than others. But I think the biggest thing with Justin is he understands that we don't. He's a quarterback, right? So we just want to be smart with how we do all that.
It seems like sometimes he turns his back when he's about to get hit. Is that something that you get like a coaching point to maybe absorb the blow in a different way?
No, I think every play is a little bit different. When you're a ball carrier, anybody can hit you, and when you're a quarterback, and they're going to really want to hit you when you're outside the pocket. So you just got to be smart. Again, sometimes it's usually the situational football where you're trying to get a first or you're trying to score a touchdown.
Matt, you've mentioned a couple times about establishing an offensive identity in the last couple weeks. How different is this identity from your vision of the offense when you came here?
No, I think you adapt to really your personnel that you have, and to every year could be a little bit different. I think you see that with some offenses as they grow and as they get to certain things. And so what I like is that I think we have a really good mix right now within our offense of ways to be able to get to things. If they shut something down, we're able to get to it because we have some multiplicity within the offense. So I'm good with it. I like it.
In that regard, it seems like, I guess I'm curious, how much room is there for expansion? And without giving away details, how much room is there for expansion? Because from yesterday to my untrained eye, I guess, it just seemed like the emphasis on protection and the run game, it came at a cost of wide receivers and tight ends becoming a factor in the passing game. And so is there room with what you're doing now to expand it? And
no, there's always room, and that's what I talked about with you guys yesterday is, you're always trying to stay one step ahead of the defenses, however that is. And so maybe some games there's some play actions off of that are more successful than others. Maybe it's drop back, or maybe it's RPO, or it's getting out on the edge with movements and nakeds. I think it's all based off of the things that you see that a team is going to come into. Like for instance, they had a plan yesterday of trying to defeat us in certain areas, and we saw that and adjusted to it. And so every week you're going to have that, and we got to figure out what it is. And so they may try to take some things away. To your general question is, when you create an identity, you stick to it. And when you know that that's who you are, you can agree to understand that you're going to win. You're going to win and lose, but when you win and lose, when you're doing it with an identity. So the growth part of that is us being able to schematically grow and continue to change things up.
is that concept easier, frankly, for you to get now in your fourth year than maybe in earlier?
Yeah, I think just with all of us as a staff, just everybody talking through like what our players do best, and then how does that fit, and again, the target stuff with who's getting the ball and all this stuff. Like our guys they just want to win, and whatever that is, however we do it, but let's do it knowing how we're going to do it. And so once we figure that out, which I feel like we're doing a good job of creating that identity, now we got to build off of that. And that's the part where we got to stay advanced with that. But yeah, we got to be smart and be able to still let our players play fast.
On your second touchdown drive, you had a string of third down conversions. What stood out to you about the ability to kind of go on that run on third down?
Yeah, well, I think Bill did a really good job of mixing up in that entire drive, put a couple different runs in there that were good. It kind of calms down their defensive line, and then just in general, I felt like the wide receivers' timing was good. Justin's timing was good. He had protection. It just everything kind of clicked. And when you stay ahead of the sticks, like that, we got that penalty early on, right? And we got to 3rd and 9. That's never easy. So you want to try to stay, that 5 or less. And I just think in general we did that. And then the guys just executed. They did a great job of executing.
Matt, as the game went on.
With the replay, or when you called for
Yeah.
is that one of those things where it's just the reward outweighs the risk by so much, or did you have a sense that it?
No, you hit it right on the. You hit it. It was a risk reward. If we were behind in that game, and obviously time was of the essence, and you need those timeouts, I would not have. I most likely would not have challenged that, understanding that. But it was the risk reward. I think that there's a slim chance of them overturning it. You understand that, but at the same point in time, if that little percent happens, that's a big swing point right there. If they do change it, and just looking at the picture and what happened and everything, but probably just like you said, it would definitely be a risk reward.
Another guy stood out. Sean's game plan yesterday.
What was that?
What stood out to you about Sean's game plan? I mean, we saw some things we haven't really seen from that defense, just scheme-wise. I know you can't get into the details of what struck you about what he created for yesterday.
Yeah, I again, just being on the headset and listening to him, I thought he was really on to being able to see where they were at and predict what they were going to do, and that's a credit to that whole coaching staff and Sean just really looking into it, and because that's a great offensive scheme. And great players, and so they do a lot of different things, and they got a lot of different weapons. But I just feel like, big picture, he had a good feel on how he wanted that thing to go, and he stuck to it. He stayed patient throughout in different ways, and I think it's impressive. We had that week 1 against the Rams. That was a tough game, and I really believe that he's done a great job of, again, kind of building that identity on defense. And once you get that and you start really believing what you guys are doing together, it works. It's good.
Matt, as the game went on, we noticed that.
Go ahead.
Halas Hall stood out a few times.
Yeah.
Especially on the Williams touchdown when he eliminated Crosby. You put him in motion now. Is he just playing tight end, or have you created a new position for him?
He's no, you'll see some teams hub that use extra O linemen at that tight end position. It's how much you do with him, but Alex is a under the radar guy that has been very beneficial to this offense in the fact that he can play a lot of different positions. And this past week, going into it, with where we were with tight ends and what we thought we could do, and who knows moving forward, we felt like he's done a great job of being able to give us an advantage. And he had he had quite a bit of plays yesterday. So that was helpful, and we just appreciate that from him.
Maybe I'm just missing it. I'm not used to seeing offensive linemen in motion.
Yeah.
You did it a lot yesterday.
Yeah, there was a little bit, and some of that there's a why behind that. You know what I mean, schematically. So we're not just doing it to see now he thinks it's pretty sweet. He said it on the plane last night. He said I look pretty good out there going on in my motion there. So we said I don't know about that, but there is a strategic advantage to some of that.
Matt, as the game went on, we saw that rookie Khalil Herbert started to get more carries. After having that workload, I guess, increase in the middle of the game, how would you assess his play?
Yeah, he did a great job. I mean, he's somebody that when you have 18 carries, you're doing something right. And I think it's just him and Damian were complementary to each other. I think you saw some really good times where he hit that zone and he stuck that right or left foot in the ground, planted it, and he went north and south and got 7-8 yards every time. So I like his vision. I like his patience. I also like his toughness, and you guys see it when he's returning kickoffs. He makes that, he's smooth, and people bounce off him, so he's got good contact balance. I really like where he's at.
Matt, talk a little bit about Robert Quinn, and as you watch it on film, how has his presence sort of helped Khalil free him up to just, obviously.
A lot. That's what's beautiful about all that is I talk about Khalil yesterday, and that's not taking anything away from the rest of those guys, because when you have a guy like Robert Quinn that's playing at a high level, I mean maybe one of the highest levels that he's played at in his career, playing like that only brings attention to him to help out 52, right, to help Khalil out. When Khalil plays how he did, now you got both those guys on the edges playing like that. Everybody else, it helps them out. And now they start playing better. And so it's just it's a domino effect. And they're complementary to each other. And they're having fun with it now, and then it's nice when they're out there flying around, because literally there might be some not great stat lines. Like Robert Quinn didn't have stat line wise. You read the newspaper or whatever, you get online, he didn't have a bunch of stats, but he helped out in so many different ways that you can't see, and we see it on tape, and we appreciate that.
Man, how much can, in reality, how much can Mike Pettin help you this week? Because a lot of times it seems like that's overblown.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, sometimes maybe there's things he could do that you wouldn't even want to say.
Right.
What's real about that situation this week?
Sure, I think there's a balance to it. They obviously understand that's you always, as coaches, you look at people that are familiar to the staffs that you're playing against, so that's normal for every team. And obviously with him being there the last several years as their D coordinator, there's a balance to it, so he'll have his input on what he sees and what he thinks and that sort of thing. But, we definitely want to, if we think it's something that we want to use, we're obviously going to use
The
it.
idea that a guy like that might knows their personnel well enough to know where a weakness is, has that ever been a factor in a game, in that kind of situation? Is that a real thing, I guess?
Well, I would say, so if you're using Coach Pettin as an example, the fact of the experience he has at the NFL level, forget the team that he came from. He's got a lot of valid points and ideas, so that part's been great with him. Now you just put in, now you sprinkle in the fact that this is the former defensive coordinator that we've gone against for, since I've been here the last 3 years. So, you're going to use things that he has, and, he's been able to go against their offense and that quarterback in general for the whole time. So there might be some things that you got to be careful. You start getting into the whole thing of this and that, and then before you know it, you're into. He'll do a good job at helping us out in certain things, and we just balance it.
Not with Fetty hurt, I was curious where Larry Borum is in his recovery. Is there a chance he comes back and you open that practice window this week?
Still working through all that. I think the good thing is that all those guys that are out right now are all doing a good job of just day by day. So we'll just keep working through that with him.
With Cairo, where you guys were in the field, to have the comfort level with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it impacted play calling and whatnot, but I know we've been talking about this for a year now with him. But what's it like for you as a head coach in that situation yesterday to have that confidence? In that distance?
It's really nice. It's nice. You get to that point where we were at yesterday, and I think everybody in the world knows there's probably 3 runs coming. And a field goal can put it 2 scores for that second field goal. And when you're in that area there, and just with Cairo kicking it, and with the guys just working together as a unit in general to be able to block, get the snap, get the hold, et cetera, they've done a great job. And so the confidence is there from all of us, myself included, and it's nice to have that.
We just feel that, and I know when you got here, you told the team all about the Bears-Packers rivalry and how important that was to the franchise and to you and to football. Does Justin have a sense of that yet? And is there a balance of him knowing that it's important but not making too big a deal out of it?
Probably, yeah. There's a balance to it, but at the same point in time, he's a competitor, and he also comes from a college rivalry as well that's pretty big. So I think he understands rivalries, and the more we're in this thing, our players that are here understand this rivalry and know it, and he'll certainly be a part of that. So thank you.